Hello everyone, Julia here with yet another monster card. Yes, I know, but I just love these guys. I mean, just look at them. Aren't they just amazing? Not only are they incredibly cute, you also get fantastic sentiments that are just so much fun. I'm gonna combine this stamp set with a Casual Friday stamp set today, but first of all, let's get to the monster. I have a piece of Simon Says Stamp Ultra Heavy cardstock because I'll be fuzzy cutting this monster, and I want some sturdy cardstock to hold up to that. And I'm stamping it with Memento Tuxedo Black ink because, as we all know, it doesn't bleed with Copic markers, which is a good thing if you're using Copic markers. So here are the colors that I'm using today. And I love teal colors, as you know. And I'm also always coloring from dark to light. Now, the BJ18 is sometimes a little bit difficult to blend out, so that's why I put down the BJ11 first to make it easier to blend it all out. And you can also see that I'm leaving spots, and no, that's not me like going senile and not being able to color properly. I just wanted him to have some spots on the fur. So that's why I'm leaving this blank, or I'm trying to leave it blank if I remember. I don't color over it, as it happened with one of the spots. And I didn't draw in any circles like I did previously on my other monsters because I wanted these to look a little bit more organic and not as defined as circles, for example, would. So that's my attempt at being creative. I watch Sandy Allnock do super creative stuff all the time, and she is just amazing when it comes to Copic coloring. And I'm just trying out some of her techniques, and this is to add more interest to a stamped image, like just with Copics. So I'm practicing. At some point I'll get it, hopefully. And here I'm just adding in some shading to make his antennae look a little bit more interesting. And of course, don't forget the feet. Can never forget the feet. Because, monsters need feet and hands. And then I wanted a contrast color to the teal, so I went with reds and red-violet colors. As you can see, you can perfectly blend across color families, and if you're unsure of which colors go together well, I really suggest getting the hex chart by Sandy Allnock, because her hex chart is just absolutely amazing when it comes to picking out colors that go well together. There's a link to it in the video description below. I'm fuzzy cutting out the monster, at least I'm trying to, because I'm not very good and I'm not very patient with all of this. But I'm fuzzy cutting him out and trying to leave a somewhat even white border around him. Now for the background, I have this circle shape that I die cut from masking paper, and then I'm using just some post-it notes to mask off the rest of the card because I don't want any ink to go there. And I also made sure to mask off the lower part of the circle, so it's not a full circle, and it's a little bit more than half a circle. These are the colors that I'm using: mustard seed, spiced marmalade, and fired brick. And I come in with my darkest color first. And the reason for that is that I want to go from darkest to lightest because I feel that allows me to blend the colors better. If I would go in with the lightest color first and then work my way to the darkest, I feel I would have to come back with the other colors anyway to make sure you don't have a strong border. So for example, here you can see I'm coming in with the spiced marmalade, and it mixes with the still wet fired brick, and by rubbing really, really hard, I'm able to blend the spiced marmalade and the fired brick together so you don't have a clearly defined line between the two colors. And then I'm coming in with the mustard seed, which is a beautiful, bright and intense yellow. And I'm going over all of this to blend this together, and then when you peel it off, you have this beautiful, it's like a sunset impression almost that I wanted to have. But I wasn't quite done. I'm using pumice stone, I think this is, which is like a warm grayish color, and I masked off my previously colored piece and just adding in a tiny little bit of this pumice stone. I don't want it super intense, but I want to ground my monster when it sits as if it is casting a shadow because the light is coming from behind it. So here's how it looks like when you put down the monster, and I felt this worked out really well. Now, I wanted to stamp some butterflies from a Casual Friday stamp set, and I wanted to stamp them in silver ink, and I know that silver ink sometimes doesn't stamp completely on the first attempt. So that's why I'm putting this down, the card base, onto my VR Memory Keeper's letterpress. I'm putting down the stamps where I want them to go, and then I'm inking up the stamps with the Daily Kata silver pigment ink. And I'm just inking up the stamps here, which are basically stuck to the flap of the letterpress, which is just a huge acrylic block, if you will. And now, because neither my card shifts nor my stamps, I can come back in and do this over and over until I'm satisfied with the impression that I get from my stamps. This works for everything that you want to do. Like always when I think I have to do repeat stamping in the same position, and here I shifted the stamps, and I'm redoing this, and you can see that the big butterfly hasn't stamped completely. You can still see the yellow and orange through. And so I'm stamping this 3 times also to make sure it's completely opaque. So I'm using my letterpress every time I have to do repeat stamping because it's always in the same spot, and it's just absolutely awesome because I can't line up stamps again for my life of it. So there. Now I put some foam tape on my monster here, and I'm going to mount him against this cheerful and intense background. And he just looks such a cutie, and that's why I picked this this sentiment. I actually saw the sentiment and I thought of the monster, and it says, "You still give me butterflies." And I think it's just so hilarious to see the monster and the sentiment and the butterflies together. I'm using a jelly roll pen, it's a silver one, to add some sparkle to those spots here. It's basically like Wink of Stella, just much more intense and a little bit more less opaque. More opaque, well, you can't really see through it, so there. And then I'm using glossy accents to put some glue on top of this because that will intensify the sparkle. And yes, I had to give him a googly eye as well because it's funny. It's so funny. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. So here's a close-up of the card. You have the sentiment, and then you have the Copic colored monster with the distressed background and some of the silver butterflies. I hope you enjoyed the project, and I'll see you again soon. Bye!